So we are with NODL. We are the two co-founders of the company. We do Bitcoin full nodes and cloud infrastructure for Bitcoin companies. And we'll be showing you today how easy it is to run a Bitcoin full node on our infrastructure. And we have 10 accounts to give away. So anybody with a laptop and a hardware wallet, preferably, can grab one. Yeah, and so let's start it. Can I have the, yeah. So this is what you will, yeah.
If anyone's interested in trying out NODL Cloud, if they want to actually do it now or a little bit later today, there's a few of these that I can distribute, so you'll have your own cloud instance. So if anybody's interested, just like raise your hand. I'll pass a few over.
So in the envelope, you will find a couple of stickers, obviously, because we are the Bitcoin conference, and a login and password to the website. We don't KYC or require any information from our users. So the email address you will find in the envelope is unique and doesn't work. Obviously, you can do whatever you want with it. If you want to switch to an actual email address that you own, just send a message through the website, through your account. This is how the website looks. It's not pretty. We are not UX people. We are technical guys who make things that just work. I have a test account here. I can show you. So yeah, this is my demo instance. This is its unique name. A couple of years ago, we switched to unique names for our devices and servers, just so your router, ISP, whoever doesn't know that you're actually using a Bitcoin node. Yeah, if you want to assign a real email address to your account, just go to the messages section and send us a message here. You get an IP address for your node. So currently we only offer full nodes with a full Bitcoin core. It's not pruned. You get all the space you need to run it. When the blockchain size increases, we just increase your disk space, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, so this is like the account view, and then this is your own personal node view, which is exactly the same you will get on our box physical devices and on the cloud infrastructure. So when you, one last thing, when the people who got an envelope, you will log into your account, and here in the description, you will actually find the password, the admin password for your instance. So please change it because we generated it and we have it. So. So after you log in to your NODL Cloud instance, this is what you will see, which is still the same UI that you will get on our physical devices. So we try to sort the features in a most used first order. So obviously Bitcoin Core is the first, LND, which we just updated 2 days ago because of the bug it had. Whirlpool CLI, which is the Samurai mixer. Tor, which is a service that you actually can't disable because by default we run everything through Tor. Lightning Terminal, if you want to do some loop in, out. Dojo, which is the Samurai wallet backend. Electrum Rust server for all your other wallets. Rider Lightning to manage your Lightning node, BTC RPC Explorer, which is a block explorer, and BTC Pay server. It's a pretty old version. We are in the process of updating it. It should be released like in a month or so with the latest version. Yeah, so our servers and devices don't call home for updates. So what we do actually for the updates, we use a DNS record which notifies the devices that there is a new version of the software. And then you have to actually click on the upgrade button to pull the update from our servers. It's a Git repository, it's open source, it's MIT licensed. You can see it here. We are very open for contributions. So far we didn't get any, so feel welcome to come and contribute. The documentation is also open source. So if you have any requests for particular documentation feature or for some software feature, you can also open issues. Yeah, and so in each of these squares, you will find like the basic information about the service, like the version running, some health information. Basically, if it's green, everything's fine. If it's yellow, something's probably wrong or resyncing. If it's red, something's wrong. And in the details, we find some configuration. So on my node, I disabled the Tor only because anyway, it's running on our cloud servers. So everybody can find that it's a Bitcoin node on this IP address. Doesn't make much sense to have Tor enabled. You can set the mempool size. You can allow RPC connections from your external wallet. So if you have a fixed IP address at home and you want to connect your Sparrow or Electrum wallet to the node, you can enable RPC here, or you can use the Electrum server, depending what you prefer. And then you have to enter the IP address here, so your home IP address or just the range in which you are, or you can just enter this, which means all internet. Please don't do it. Then in the Lightning settings, you will find QR codes for the most popular wallets. So this is a Zap connection QR code. This is a Zeus QR code. So this is if you want to connect over ClearNet. If you want to connect over Tor, you go to the Tor settings, and you have the same QR codes. This is the Bitcoin RPC QR code over Tor, and this is the gRPC for Zap. And all the services running on your node can be accessed over Tor. It's optional, so you can just enable all the services through Tor, save, and it will reconfigure Tor automatically. And after a few minutes, you will see the Tor addresses of all the other services appear here. So now, since I reconfigured Tor, LND got restarted because it's a dependency of Tor. So many things are being restarted, and in a few minutes it will hopefully go back to green and be accessible over Tor. Are there any Samurai users here? Congrats. So if you're a Samurai user and you want to use the Dojo service, you will find the Onion address here. And you need to use a Tor browser to open it. We'll be integrating the QR code to pair the Samurai wallet directly in our UI, but currently you have to open it in Tor browser separately. Yeah, so meanwhile, everything's back to green, and if I go to the Tor details, now I have a load of other Onion services here for all the features of the node. Okay. Okay, doesn't want to start. So anyway, you open the Tor link in your Tor browser, then you enter the access key, and you'll get the QR code for pairing your Ripple wallet, your Somewhere wallet. If you are using a wallet that was previously used, you have to reset Somewhere wallet and pair it first before you enter the seed. And then you have to go to this onion address and rescan the XPub so it catches up your transactions, because if you don't, you will just see an empty balance. Yeah, then you get the block explorer, pretty usual. It's BTC RPC Explorer. We like it a lot. Actually, our devices use we use block numbers as serial numbers on our devices. We only select the ones mined by Slushpool because we like them. What else can I show you? So yeah, for all the third-party software, we generate the passwords for you. You can change them in the command line if you want, but the initial passwords are set automatically by the system. And yeah, for example, if you go to Lightning Terminal, you get the password here. Just copy paste, and you're logged in. Same for RTL. And we have our BTC Pay server here. So if you want to accept payments on your WooCommerce or PrestaShop or Shopify website, you can just pair it to this BTC Pay server instance. Yeah, I would like to make it interactive. So if you have any questions, Laurent has a mic.
Yeah, I'll pass the mic to anybody who wants to ask questions. We didn't know what the setup would be, so we thought people would have computers and try to actually pair their hardware wallets or computers with the cloud instances we gave out earlier. But you know, are there a lot of people running nodes in the room? Yeah. And are there a lot of people who might not be running a node because they think it's complicated, or they don't necessarily understand the purpose, and you might want to go into some of those features? Do you have questions around these? Yeah.
No, yeah, for myself, actually, I just came here with the questions like, how do you set up a node? And this looks like very specific, right? So is it the instance that you connect to your infrastructure, physical infrastructure by like, is it like a service as a payment? So you subscribe, you can get a space on your physical racks, and then you get some benefits. Like maybe we should start from a little bit more generic, but that's my point of view.
So yeah, well, the main point of this is we own 100% of the hardware and the network is running on. And we are actually using, we'll go a little into technical details, but we are using AMD EPYC processors, for the third generation specifically, because from the second generation, they actually allow memory encryption per virtual machine, which is managed in the hardware itself. So even us managing the physical hardware don't have access to the memory of the virtual machines running on our infrastructure, which is actually a first, because even Amazon is not running these processors unless you rent a very expensive dedicated instance. And to our knowledge, no other Bitcoin cloud provider is using that. So basically, you don't have to trust us because the hardware does it for you. And the same as on our physical devices, you have disk encryption as well. So it's the marketing term is encryption at rest. If you shut down the instance, you have to re-enter the encryption password before you can access your data. So even if you're running like a hot wallet in BTC Pay or in Whirlpool, we can't do anything because everything is encrypted in memory and on disk. And only you have the password.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, my question is, why choose this instead of like Raspberry Pi or Intel NUC?
So, I mean, if you can run it at home, do it because it's always better to own your own hardware. I would not advise to use a Raspberry Pi because the little known fact is that the Raspberry Pi firmware is not open source. We are actually not using Raspberry Pis in our devices. We are using Rockchip-based boards because Rockchip open sourced all the firmwares. But yeah, I mean, if you have a place to run your node and you don't need it publicly accessible from the internet, like running a web shop, do it at home. It's always better.
Yeah, maybe sometimes like people like have a visual representation. This is like what running the stack at home means is like this is a node in a box, which, you know, that's how we started basically building hardware. Unfortunately, sometimes when you run this at your home or at your parents' house, like a lot of people do, like you'll lose electricity or power, and you're not always at home. And eventually, the cloud stack that's really just the same as what's running on this obviously has different trade-offs, but you might actually want to use something that's always accessible and that's maybe sturdier if you have like businesses processes running on top of those rather than just having a box at home. And eventually, like our vision is that probably everybody will be running multiple nodes in the future without necessarily knowing about it. And there'll be a variety of different types of nodes for different processes. Some you'll run yourself, some you'll probably have run by someone else. But it's important to understand those trade-offs because there's always trade-offs in that type of solution.
Yeah, and also there are some applications which require running a node 24/7. Like, for example, we have a demo running on our booth with our partner Beater. If you want to receive key send payments, you have to be online. If you want to use chat applications over Lightning, you have to be online. So yeah, not everybody has stable electricity or stable network at home. That's why we started to do cloud instances as well.
Yeah.
What is exactly your business model? Are you, when you choose the cloud option, are you consuming my bandwidth, or am I paying a subscription to you, or how does it work?
Yeah, so the hardware nodes are like a one-time purchase thing, and for the cloud service, it's basically billed every month. As long as you want to have it running, you pay every month, and when you stop paying, you stop running the service.
Yeah, we do monthly, we do yearly. If you pay a year ahead, you get 2 months free. And about the devices, we actually support, we are on the market for more than 4 years now with our physical devices, and we still support the first generation. Now it's the third. We are not planning to drop support for the oldest devices anytime soon, so yeah, it's a long-term investment.
Is there a possibility to have it as a failover system? So if your own NODL system goes down, then it fails over to the cloud and then you pay, or is it a yearly subscription?
That's actually something we're working on, for the Lightning part at least, but it's not out yet.
Okay, thank
But
you.
yeah, we are working. So we are working like a physical plus cloud redundancy and also multi-cloud. So it can run in. We are currently in France and Switzerland. So we already have 2 jurisdictions. We are planning to open other jurisdictions, and you will be able to have a node which is synchronized between multiple jurisdictions. And if at some point you have issues with one of them, you can just shut down in the jurisdiction you don't want to be anymore and continue your business in another one.
Okay, thank you.
So just to show you how well we support our oldest users, we started with a 500 gigs device 4 years ago, and we didn't want people to buy a new one just because the drive is full, so we made a tutorial, video and text tutorial, just to show them how to upgrade the SSD and migrate the data to a bigger one. We have some users who moved from 500 gigs to 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes. And yeah, and on our flagship device, we actually have 2 drives which are mirrored. And if you want to upgrade, you can just replace one of them. It will resync to the bigger one, and then you replace the second one. So you can upgrade your device with almost no downtime. So also one thing is we had discussions with Raspberry Blitz and other nodes providers, and initially our take was like that you should do your initial block download IBD yourself, and devices shouldn't come pre-synced. So one of the choices for our hardware was that it has to be fast enough that you can sync it in a timely manner, like under a week, let's say. Actually, it's closer to 2 to 3 days now. And after really understanding what it means to do the IBD and what other people are doing, we decided to pre-sync our devices. So when you receive it, it comes synced up to the shipping date almost. And you still have the option to just wipe everything and resync if you want to. But actually, there is a common misconception that when you're doing the IBD, you're verifying all the blocks, which is not true. There is something called assume valid in Bitcoin Core, which gives a block number up to which it will not verify the transactions. It will just start verifying like the last few months of transactions. So yeah, if you actually want to verify all the transactions, it takes a long time.
So I have a question about Tor. So much of the infrastructure in Bitcoin is running on Tor or based on Tor. We've seen lately a lot of attacks on Tor, and how do you actually go about if an issue with Tor? Your cloud services are really dependent on Tor, and everybody is really dependent on Tor. So if I run anything on NODL, and then I want to just keep going but not lose the privacy, what can you really do about it? Or what's your protocol of maybe make sure everybody knows that right now we're experiencing some jamming because of Tor is attacked?
Yeah, so 2 things. First one is why we are running our own infrastructure is because we had feedback from people running on some service providers that don't like Tor, and they are just shutting down people just because they use Tor. So that's not going to happen on our infrastructure because we are our own ISP. So we decide what protocols we are running on our network. Second part is, yes, we have issues with Tor right now. Everybody has. Unfortunately, there is no way around that except using other protocols. which are not many. I2P is promising, but there are probably less I2P nodes than Tor nodes. We are looking into NIM, but it's borderline shitcoin, so we don't know what to do about it. But it actually works very well as a mixing network. Probably when I2P and NIM gets more popular, they will run into the same issues we have with Tor right now. Yeah, we just need many, many more Tor nodes. I'm actually running another project called Host for Coins, which is an anonymous VPS service. And I have some users which are running Tor relays on that. I know there is some fundraising happening now to run more Tor relays. So yeah, if you have some sats to spare, give them to that, so we can have more relays, more Tor nodes. That's the only way out.
As an alternative to Tor, have you heard of CJ DNS, maybe?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
As an alternative to Tor, have you heard of CJ DNS?
No.
No. Oh, maybe look into it.
Send us an issue on GitLab or message on Twitter, and we'll look into it. Yeah, so another thing we are working on is like increase like use your own wallet backend adoption. So we are talking with different wallet providers to have a feature which allows you to rent a backend on our infrastructure from inside the wallet. Yeah, we're hoping like the next year probably to come out with a couple. So if you don't want to trust the wallet provider, the wallet provider's backend, you will be able to use our infrastructure instead. Any more questions, remarks? Okay, so I guess we can wrap it up here. Come to see us on our booth. We have an exhibition booth in the next room. If you have any questions, want to talk more, want to buy your device, we are selling those here, or need help with onboarding for the people who got an account, we'll be happy to help. And there's a good segue there. The BTC Pay guys waiting behind. They will show you what you can do with BTC Pay once it's upgraded to the latest version.